Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to my 3 takeaways episode from the Will Robbins interview that I just posted this past Monday. I mean, what an unbelievable story. If you have not listened to that episode yet, you have got to go back and listen. The fact that he survived a tsunami that killed over 250,000 people in Thailand in 2004, I mean, that story is just earth-shattering. I mean, like literally, and I didn't even mean to make that a pun. It's literally unbelievable. I was watching CBS Sunday before a golf tournament, and I saw this story, and I saw what he was doing now, and I was like, I have got to have this guy on the podcast. And so I found his number, called him, and I could not be more grateful that he accepted the interview and hopped on the show with me. It's such an unbelievable story of like perseverance and comeback from such an unbelievably unimaginable situation that you can be put in. We all are put in like tough situations, but this kind of gives us perspective like, okay, we were never put in something like that. And he was able to come back on the other side and use it as a positive situation. And now it's part of his story. And now he's impacting people's lives in such a positive way. So make sure you listen to the story, and he's got some great takeaways as well. But before I get into those 3 takeaways, if you guys are not subscribing to my Monday Motivation Trio 111 newsletter, you've got to go to nickcarrier.com/111-newsletter to get signed up now. So on every single Monday morning, you get 1 motivational quote, 1 inspiring video, and 1 badass workout so you can start your week off with a bang. Because I know it's so important to get your Monday started off right. Because if you have a good Monday, you build some momentum, you feel good going into Tuesday, and you can carry that throughout the rest of the week. But also vice versa. If you have a bad Monday and you're dragging and you're lulling, it gets to Wednesday and you're like, how is it only Wednesday right now? So go to nickcarrier.com/111-newsletter to start your week off strong and build some momentum going in through the rest of your week. With that being said, let's get right into my 3 takeaways. Number 1 is don't overpressure or specialize your child. Now, I can't speak to this from experience because I don't have any kids, but we talked a lot about in the beginning of the episode how a lot of parents now are trying to specialize their children in sports. And he's a part of the Olympic Golf Committee where they talk so much about youth sports, and they talk about how it's to the detriment of the child, both physically and mentally. And he was talking about in regards to golf, think about it. If a child is 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, and they're swinging a golf club hundreds of times a day, 7 days a week for years on end, they're going to get to the point where they're 16 years old and their body's going to give out because they've been doing the same plane of motion over and over and over again. And so those same muscles that are being repeatedly used in that way are going to be broken down, and that's going to lead to injury. So physically, it hurts you and it stunts you, but also mentally, because he talks about the benefits of team sports and the benefits of learning how to lose and the benefits of also having different athletic abilities. And there's so many just different mental and physical benefits that you can get from not specializing in one sport and being able to socialize with other kids and everything like that. And he talks about how when you're a kid, you need to have fun. It doesn't need to be cutthroat and you have to be the best player possible when you're 8 years old, because that's ridiculous. So again, don't overpressure or specialize your child, especially when they're too young. Takeaway number 2 is change how you see the game. Now, this is probably one of the most profound things that I got out of the interview with Will, because I'm a golfer myself. I try at least the best that I can. And he talked about how a lot of golfers think that golf is a game about their swing. And he's like, obviously you have to have a certain level of capabilities in regards to hitting the golf ball. But after that, it's how you see the game, because a lot of people don't know the true stats that are the most important stats. People talk about, oh, I'm missing my greens in regulation, or oh, I have a bad swing, I have a big hook, I have a big slice. But he's like, no, it's not necessarily about fairways hit or greens in regulation. It's about being able to get the ball in a specific area and being able to putt and chip like a maniac. That's exactly what he said, word for word. You have to chip and putt like a maniac. And so I've actually started his online course called The Scoring Method, which is an awesome online course. You guys need to go check it out. And he talks about how you can view the game of golf so differently. And he actually has his own scorecard in which you keep track of some different metrics. And I am so pumped. I haven't been out on the golf course yet since I started taking this course, but I'm so pumped to go out on the golf course because I know it's going to improve my score immediately without having even done anything to my swing, but simply by how I see the game. And to kind of translate this to an application in my life outside of golf is it's such an applicable takeaway for business. as well, because I think a lot of us, and especially with COVID, a lot of us entrepreneurs had this one idea for their business and they were going in one lane and they were doing this one particular thing, and then COVID hit and you're forced to pivot. You're forced to find a new way to make things happen. And so you change the way that you see the game. You change the way that you see your business, and that allows you to be creative in ways that you weren't being creative before. Takeaway number 3 is surrender the outcome. And I've heard this more and more since I've been doing this podcast and since I've been interviewing people, the phrase surrendering the outcome. And it's all about controlling what you can control, because there are so many times where we spend so much energy on the things that we can't control. And that's really one of the most important things. One of the most important assets we have is our energy. And if we spend our energy focusing on things that we can't control, then that leads to, first off, a lack of productivity, a lack of effectiveness and efficiency, but also a lack of mental health, right? It's going to leave us stir crazy because we like to control so many things. And if we focus so many of the things on that we cannot control, that's going to leave us stressed, anxious, and all the works. So he talked about how he was forced to surrender the outcome when the tsunami hit. When he went underwater, he was like, you know what? I surrender. I think I'm going to pass away. And the moment he surrendered, that's when his head popped out from underwater. And that just gives me chills even just talking about it. His head popped out from underwater and he saw the broad daylight and he realized he was alive. He wasn't saved yet, but he was alive. And that taught him that later in life, when he was trying to over control his circumstances and he was trying to over control his life, he was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? Why am I stressing myself out? Why am I over anxious? Let me just surrender the outcome. Let me control what I can control. And then whatever happens after that, so be it. And when he did that, that's when he started to be less depressed, less anxious, and his business started to thrive even further. So again, guys, my 3 takeaways. Number 1, don't overpressure or specialize your child, both from a mental and a physical standpoint. When you're 4, 5, 6 years old, you're not meant to do one thing 100 times a day, 7 days a week, year after year. Takeaway number 2 is change how you see the game. It's not necessarily the exact tactics and the exact skills you have that are holding you back. It might just be the viewpoint at which you're seeing your game or your business. And then takeaway number 3 was surrender the outcome. Spend your energy on the things that you can control and surrender the rest, because that's what's going to keep us in a healthy mental state. I hope you guys enjoyed these 3 takeaways. I hope you enjoyed, I know you enjoyed if you listened to it, the Will Robbins interview that I posted this past Monday. If you haven't listened again, you're missing out. You've got to go back and listen. Absolute game changer, unbelievable story that will floor you. I've already talked to some people who are like, I had to rewind and realize that, like, holy crap, he got hit by a tsunami on his honeymoon. Unbelievable. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 3 takeaways. I know you enjoyed the episode if you listened to it. Make sure you go to nickcarrier.com/111-newsletter to subscribe to my Monday Motivation Trio 111 newsletter so you can start your week off with a bang, because these are the things that are going to allow you to get closer and closer to your best you.